Today is April 30th, Thursday of the third week of Easter. And we continue listening to the Acts of the Apostles throughout the Easter season as the first reading of the daily masses and the Sunday masses. So today we have the passage that comes after Stephen has been stoned to death, the first martyr. And then Saul of Tarsus, who completely approved of all of that, he starts this violent campaign against this Christian movement, dragging women and men out of their homes and putting them in prison for following the way, which is another way that they referred to the Christian movement. And so the apostles scatter, and we have today in the passage, we hear about Philip heading south. The angel of the Lord spoke to Philip, "Get up and head south on the road." So Philip goes. He's heading south. And as he's heading south, he comes across this chariot, more like a carriage, if you will. And inside is sitting this Ethiopian who has just been to Jerusalem. And while he was there for a pilgrimage. He's kind of a seeker. And on the way south, as he's heading out of Jerusalem, on his way home, he's reading from the prophet Isaiah. And Philip hears that. And he says, "Do you understand?" He runs alongside the chariot. He runs alongside, and he asks the Ethiopian, "Do you understand what you're reading?" And the Ethiopian says, "How can I unless someone instructs me?" So Philip gets inside the chariot. He's invited in by the Ethiopian. And this is the passage. And Philip would have heard him reading out loud because in the ancient world, people didn't read to themselves quietly. They read out loud. So that's how he could hear that it was from the prophet Isaiah. "Like a sheep, he was led to the slaughter. And as a lamb before its shearer is silent, so he opened not his mouth. In his humiliation, justice was denied him. Who will tell of his posterity? For his life is taken from the earth." And then the Ethiopian asked Philip, "I beg you, about whom is the prophet saying this? About himself or someone else?" What a great opening! Philip hears that. And of course, we even recognize this. Oh, that's a prophecy of the Messiah who had to suffer and was put to death on a cross so he could rise again for our salvation, okay? So Philip tells the story of Jesus. And as he does so and says that Jesus is the fulfillment of all those prophecies. In fact, Bishop Robert Barron says, Jesus is the fulfillment of all the hopes of Israel. So as he explains that, this Ethiopian is so moved, he converts to Christianity. In fact, they come across some water, and he says, "What's to prevent me from being baptized?" And so Philip baptizes him, and immediately Philip disappears. Now, in this little passage, it's a reminder to us of our need to always be ready to do God's bidding and always be ready to share the reason for our hope. St. Peter said that in the first letter of Peter. Always be ready to share the reason for your hope, something to that effect. But he's reminding us of our need to look for opportunities. For instance, I walk into a Safeway store one time. I was wearing my collar like this, and so it was a little obvious who I am. But the person at the counter saw me and went, "Oh." I went up to the deli counter. He went, "That's it." That's what he said. "That's it." I go, "What's it?" "Well, seeing you." And I go, "Oh, what?" Yeah, I didn't know him. He said, "Well, I've been thinking about going back to church, and I was looking for a sign, and you walk in." So there you go. But you never know how God is going to use you in some good way. So pray for that. And it might be something simple like this. Somebody says, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, well, let me see. I've got a lot of household projects on Saturday. And then Sunday, after we go to Mass, we're going to go visit my mom." So they say, "Oh, you go to Mass? Where do you go to Mass?" Our Lady of the Lake Catholic Church. And they might say, "Oh," and file it away. Or they might say, "Oh, I grew up Catholic." And you never know where that might be an opening. Not that anything will be said much more that day, but they'll file it away and someday may have a question of you. Or if you're going through a difficulty and they're going, "Gosh, how are you dealing with all that?" And you go, "Well, I turn to God in prayer, and that's where I always start." Now, even if they don't ever respond, that's an honest answer, but they file it away and know that, oh, here's a person of faith. Maybe I can talk to them about this sometime. Or if they're going through a crisis and you can say, gosh, I count on my prayers, I'll be sure to pray for you. But anything else I can do to help you right now? Just by saying that, you've expressed that you're a person of faith, and that may open a door for them. So just those little things are opportunities for us to share our faith and be ready at all times to share the hope. That's what Philip and the apostles did. That's what we're called to do, to always be ready. So pray for that every day, that God will send people into your life and show you the opportunities, just in very simple ways, to share the reason for your hope. God bless you.